Hello, my name is Sweenus, and this is my 5th devlog for my tower defense game. What I've been working on mostly has been finishing up the first turret selection UI pass that was started before the previous devlog, and here is how it currently stands. I've kept the dynamic movement effect that happens whenever you move the screen with things selected, where the boxes underneath the turrets kind of move and jiggle about. And then I also added in the lines that connect each of the turrets whenever they're selected. When you select a single turret, you still get the full view, but when you select multiple turrets now, it'll get a smaller shrunken view that'll just contain the turret type and what level it's currently at. Then whenever you hover over that little label, it expands into the previous full view. This way the overall screen isn't cluttered with lots of information, and you still get access to individual turrets to upgrade them. But what you also get is on the right hand side with multiple selected is an overview of all of the selection. So if you have say 5 level 5 turrets of type cannon and then 3 level 2 turrets of type cannon, it'll be listed on the right hand side, and then you can upgrade level 2, all of the level 2 to level 3 or whatever level in one go. What I also like to do in the future is make the UI more efficient in terms of information. Right now it is pretty text dense. What I'd like to do is swap out some of the text for iconography. For example, the cannons have a specific icon for the cannons, and then for each level could have say a hexagon around the actual cannon icon, and then some of the corners would have like yellow small triangles for level 2, and then the rest could have red bigger triangles for level 3, and then obviously for level 1 it would just be the bare hexagon. Things like that. Try and use more visual cues rather than reading. And then for the actual stats, using bars instead of straight up numbers, so that way I can give a better comparison between different turrets, so I can have the absolute minimum weakest turret to be the lowest and then the strongest turret to be the highest, and then each upgrade can be relative to those. As I was editing this video, I realized I completely forgot the selection rings. So these are rings that will show the range of each individual turret, so you can see pretty much where all of your turrets together will be able to cover. It's pretty much the same how it works in RTS games like Supreme Commander. What you can see currently on the screen is just for show. Obviously the turret ranges is going to be much further, but it highlights the fact that the rings overlap in a way where you don't have bits on the inside showing. It's based on distance, and it is done with a one color set to one and one set to another based on odd even. That's just temporary. And I've also updated my distance field outline plugin with a option to add a anti-aliasing pass on the simple outlines. I'm still working on using it for the distance field outlines. That's a bit more work, and it's not technically using anti-aliasing on the outline result itself. It's more on the initial edge so that there's less stair stepping, I think you could call it, on the resulting distance field. So it'll be more accurate and you'll get far better outlines with it. And the main reason for this is I noticed when messing around, I would get artifacts when moving around when using TAA or TSR. I also know a lot of people don't like temporal based anti-aliasing, so having an option to smooth out the edges without needing temporal based anti-aliasing is a big plus, I think. With that out of the way, I can now start working on more of the actual core gameplay, namely the enemies that will be spawning in and then actually being able to be targeted by the turrets, which is going to require a lot of work, as I'm going to be using my other plugin, which I've had on the shelf for probably over a year now, which is a navigation plugin that uses grids and flow fields and has a bunch of A-star stuff in it. But over the year I've had different ideas on how to improve that, how to make it more efficient and faster. And then I also want to have it integrated, or working with rather, the Unreal Mass system. So you'll get your entity component system type stuff in there that'll give it the performance boost, which will make it even better for not only my games, but strategy games in general. And also, since I'm using HeyZoos OpenRTSCamera, I didn't mention it in the previous devlog, but I did put in a comment. I've modified it to a fairly decent extent. I've added shift click support. I've changed how the selection is handled slightly, so you can get the information from selection from a subsystem, which pretty much gives you global access to the selection, which makes it easier as you don't have to pass around or get HUD blueprint values or whatever. It's all centralized. So I've created a fork of his repo, and I'll have a link to both his and mine in the description below. And that's all I've got for this update. I probably won't have enough content for another devlog for a while, at least visually, mainly because most of what I'll be doing is going to be more technical and there's not much I can show until a lot of things get updated and fixed and implemented. But all my updates every month are on Patreon, which you can follow for free, and a link to that is in the description as well. As always, if you liked the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to keep up to date. And as always, thank you for watching. See you next time.